Hi, welcome to True Creeps, where the stories are true and the creeps are real. We'll cover stories from grotesque gore to the possibly plausible paranormal, to horrifying history, to tense and terrible true crime, and everything else that goes bump in the night. We're your hosts, Amanda, and I'm Lindsay, and we want you to join us while we creep. We cover mature topics. Listener discretion is advised. Hello, everyone. Today, we are going to be talking about a cryptid. And this cryptid is something that I hadn't heard about before. What about you?
I also had not heard of this one.
It's a new one. So during holiday season, Lindsay and I participated in a Krampus gift exchange with our Velisca crew. And I was gifted a cryptid cuisine book, and it's a culinary journey cookbook.
I love it.
It's all cryptid themed. I love it. I've been looking at it all the time. So thank you, Lexi, for it. I love it. But while I was reading through it, this caught my eye because I was like, I've never heard of it. And then it had a very strange recipe with it that I will not be eating, but interesting.
I would also point out that Amanda has a very specific palate.
The palate of a 4-year-old. Yes. Yes.
I was saying it so much more nicely.
Oh, no, I'll own it. Yeah, 4-year-old. If a 4-year-old will eat it, I probably will eat it. If not, then no deal. But this book gave me this idea. So today we're going to be talking about the Alkali Lake Monster. And it has several different names. It's also called the Lake Walgren Monster, or its scientific name, Giganticus returvius. Now, this cryptid in particular is a little different than our typical cryptid. Many of the descriptions came from articles rather than lists of people that we typically see. You know, a lot of the time it's like, so-and-so saw it, or so-and-so's cousin saw it here. Yes, that's not quite how this one is laid out. And perhaps there's a reason for this, so we'll get to that at the end. So let's talk about where to find this cryptid. If you're going to go hang out in Nebraska this summer and plan on going fishing or boating in a lake, you may need to keep an eye out for this monster. Now, it's particularly seen in Lake Walgren, which is a 50-acre lake that is located in Sheridan County near Hay Springs. And it used to be called Alkali Lake, so that's where the name came from. So if you go there, you may, locate this creature and or hopefully photograph it because I want to see it. And the photographs we'll talk about later are fantastic.
Gorgeous. Yeah, I love them. I love them. So let's talk about what this creature looks like. And again, earlier, Amanda talked about the unique ways in which this cryptid was talked about, but the sources vary wildly on the descriptions, and there's also no date or encounter details. So we're kind of like adding them around as we go. But here's our list. He's been described as a very large catfish. No word on how many 12-year-old boys that would be. Mainly because with a very long catfish, I would need to know if it has a lipless slit for its mouth, though.
That's another callback.
Yeah. A giant horned alligator-like beast, which, if you say an alligator with horns, I'm thinking alligator Loki. There's no other way. There's nothing else I'm going to think of. Okay, he also has a tail, brown or gray rough skin, has a large horn between his eyes, which feels very bizarre.
It's a unicorn alligator, clearly.
A unigator. Gator corn.
There's our other sticker.
He can roar. It can spout water like a whale, and it has a horrible, unforgettable stench. Some people describe him as a large mud puppy, just like the cutest fucking thing.
Yeah, that was my favorite description of all of them.
Yes, and a mud puppy is a type of salamander. Reports have varied on his size. One said that it was the size of a yearling steer, as one does, because everyone clearly knows what a yearling steer is, but worry not. I have Google AI's definition for you.
Oh, thank you.
It is a male bovine that is 1 to 2 years old and has been castrated.
Oh. Specific.
Okay, cool. I don't know what the bovine having been castrated has to do with the size of it, but maybe that's part of cow science. I don't know. I'm not a bovinologist. So other sources say that the Alkali Monster is 2 feet broad and 10 to 12 feet long. And then other reports have given the range from him being 40 to 100 feet long.
Now, other descriptions say that it has 4 legs, and some say it has 2 legs and a flipper in the back. Then others say it has a serpentine body similar to the Loch Ness Monster. And there's absolutely no reason for this, but I just kept thinking of Trogdor.
The Burninator.
Of course, yeah. Is there any others?
And see, where my brain went was that this seems a little Basilosaurus-esque, and that this would actually be an appropriate place for a little miniature Basilosaurus to just thrive.
That's why I was drawn to it.
Yes, that's why it called to you.
It called to me in the pages.
It was like, you'll love me. You'll love me. Make this food.
Now, this is a very good skill to have. Some say it can control the weather.
As all cryptids do.
Of course. It also has the ability to create a thick green mist.
Is it a fart?
Maybe.
Isn't that weird? Is it coming out of its little blowhole? Does its magic horn do it?
I took it as kind of like the weather, how it can just, influence the weather. That it's like, now it's very misty, but because I'm a cool, creepy creature, I'm making it green. Green mist.
I love that you were like, this has to do with its weather powers. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I'm just like, in my head, I see it come in from both directions, and then it's just like misty.
Yeah, I like it.
It like summons the mist while it's in its little pond.
As one does.
As one does, yeah. So let's talk about these sightings and reports, because they're a little strange. Now, in the 20s, as all cryptid stories typically start, people started to talk about their livestock going missing near the lake.
Uh-oh.
There wasn't an exact date on this, though, but people started seeing a creature in the lake around that time. Some said it was a giant catfish that was big enough to swallow a manhole. Which I love that they always say, like, what could this thing eat whole?
Yeah, yeah.
Like when they're saying the size of it.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that again later. But others thought it was just a giant salamander. Interesting from the pictures that we've seen. Okay. And then others said that there might even be a dinosaur in there, in that little lake.
I think what's throwing me the most about this is when they describe a catfish, like catfish have those little whiskers. In my brain, it translates the vision of what I'm seeing to like a mix between a Basilosaurus and an alligator, like alligator sized, the tail of an alligator kind of vibe.
Okay.
And I do not know why, but the whiskers become a French mustache.
Okay. Yeah.
Like in my image. And if you're going to have a French mustache, you simply have to have a beret.
Okay.
And possibly a baguette. But so basically what I'm saying is it's a miniature Basilosaurus that is French. That is like stereotypically French.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
We, as one might say.
Maybe it is an evolution from the Basilosaurus and it just like hopped over to the lake.
I wonder why there would be an evolution from a Basilosaurus.
Because it got sick of your shit, Lindsay. That's why.
She knew I had her. She knew I fucking had her. Her face was like, fuck.
So last week, just off topic, but on topic. Last week, a listener sent us a gorgeous crocheted Basilosaurus that she made. So much talent that I don't have.
Truly magnificent. Yeah, I cannot crochet anything.
It was beautiful. And then she gave it to me last week.
Magnificent.
It's my favorite item.
I think it should be the star on your Christmas tree going forward.
Oh my God, it really should. It should be.
It really should.
Yeah.
If you could go ahead and take a picture of it and then we could put a little beret and a French mustache on it for our episode art, done.
Oh my gosh. Perfect. Well, thank you, Brittany. I am obsessed with it.
Gorgeous.
And I guess it will be my star now. So let's move forward with our monster. In September of 1921, this may have been where the first official report came from, and it was from the Hay Springs News. They had an article in their paper that was called, "If It Isn't a Whale, It's a Whaler of an Animal."
They really tried.
It included some vague descriptions of an animal that was unlike anything seen in that area before, but this article wasn't archived very well, so it's very hard to find one that is able to be read properly without it being very fuzzy.
Yeah.
Then, on October 21st of 1921, there was another article. The article discussed a proposed method of seining to catch the creature. And they wanted to do this, but, quote, game officials did not think that they had a seine large enough to hold it, so the undertaking has been delayed indefinitely.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't know what seining is.
I mean, same.
I'm not a fisherman, but what seining is it's a fishing method that involves using a large net to catch fish or possibly an aquatic cryptid, apparently.
It's a big fucking net.
They're just going to like net the lake and pull it right out.
I imagine like a big pasta strainer, kind of.
Yeah, they just needed like this massive lake-sized pasta strainer, but unfortunately, it was delayed indefinitely.
I mean,
until now. We are starting a GoFundMe.
Listen, sharks. What we're offering you, one time only opportunity to get on the ground floor of the concept of a large aquatic cryptid net. Now, we have not built it, but we could. We could be dredging all types of things. Figuring out what's in there. What big things do we got going on? That's what we want to know.
You know, a lot of these cryptids, there have been various rewards to like find proof, right? We've talked about it in other episodes. Think of all the things we could catch.
Think of the cryptids we could catch. We could make tens of thousands of dollars. Sharks, that's surely an amount of money that you would be interested in.
I was thinking we could make tens and 20s of dollars.
We could make 2 crisp $1 bills. It's gonna be a robust end of episode.
Okay, so we were talking about nets, and unfortunately, it was delayed indefinitely because that's not a thing that can happen.
Yeah, if you want to hear us pitch to the sharks, we don't mean generally any sharks. Just go ahead and scoot on to the end of the episode. There might be a mild rant about other things that we just don't want judgment for.
A mild rant?
And when I say we, I mean me, because maybe I feel tender.
Zambi. Okay, so then on August 11th of 1922, there was another article. It was called, quote, "The huge water animal again, seen on surface."
Very concise.
I would read the news if this was our news now.
That'd be much nicer news.
Oh, yeah, it really would.
What I wouldn't give for just a simple cryptid among the horrors.
I mean, if everything's going to be censored now, can we at least censor it towards just weird animals that people are finding?
If you tell the algorithm that's what you want, that's all it'll show you, despite the world burning anyway. So just type in cryptid and only look at that. You'll be good. Internet will do it for you.
There's other potential good impacts of doing that, by the way. We'll talk about it.
Yes, yes.
So in this article, it named 6 townspeople who had said that they have seen the creature. One was William Hadgedorn, and he said, quote, "There's something there, and very large too, or it could not splash the water as it did."
Okay. Maybe it's just somebody who's very good at splashing, but whatever.
Yeah, that must be it. So we saw a large splash.
Then in 1923, the Omaha World Herald did a story that is probably the most discussed sighting. So J.A. Johnson said that he and his 2 friends saw the creature from about 20 yards away. They were camping next to the lake when they saw it, and they saw something moving in the water, so they went to the shoreline so they could get a better look. They described it as 40 feet long, dull gray and brown in color, with a horn-like object between its eyes and nostrils. Now, I need you to know.
Okay.
In my head, I immediately thought of a motherfucking snork.
Okay.
And I don't want you to look at anything right now, but I would like for you, and this is very important, to describe from memory what a snork looks like. Don't look it up. Don't look it up. I see you typing. Don't do it.
I'm not typing.
Describe what a snork looks like. Look me in my eyes, Amanda. Yes.
I only think of that weird, like, little cartoon creature. Is that what you're thinking of?
Yes, 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 a snork.
Okay, it's like, I think yellow?
What do you think? A snork is a real fucking thing? Okay. Describe its face.
I mean, maybe. Who could know? I don't know. I don't know. It had like big white eyes, and I think I don't know.
Do you remember any feature on its face or head more prominently?
For some reason, I think it had like a little curly Q like hair, but I don't think that that's a thing.
I very vividly remember the snork thing in the front of its face.
Okay.
Being like belled out the bottom, and I was like, oh, this reminds me of a snork.
Can I look it up now?
So then I looked up a fucking snork, and it's on its head. And I swear to God, I have never seen a snork with a thing on its head. It was always in the middle of its face. I am now wondering if I'm thinking of some other like 90s cartoon, but I cannot find it. It is driving me insane. I asked Ben the same thing and he was like, yeah, it's in the middle of its face. Like I did not lead him. I was like, describe what a snork looks like. Don't look it up. And I was sitting next to him. He did not look it up. And he was like, it's in the middle of its face. And I was like, it's on its head. He was like, what? And then we were looking at pictures of snorks and I felt really fucked up about it.
I wasn't even thinking of this.
I did call my brother. He said that it was on top of its head. What were you thinking of?
I thought it was a curly Q. Like, I didn't even think it was this big. Like,
yeah, it's like
I don't know what it is. Straw.
Which also, by the way, the first time I've ever thought about why it's called a snork, is it because it's like a snorkel?
Mm-hmm.
I clearly do not remember the show very well. But anyway, I thought of a snork, whatever thing I was thinking of. But that's not clearly what we're talking about. We're just talking about this horn that's kind of just in the way, it sounds like.
It's the Mandela effect. They might have just moved it to fuck with you.
I guess.
Yeah.
So, in their description, they said that it looked similar to an alligator, but it was bigger and it appeared to be heavier as well.
Yeah, they weighed it.
Yeah, of course, obviously. Once they caught it with their very big net. When the creature noticed the group of men, they said it then emitted a, quote, dreadful roar, thrashed its tail about, and then dove under the water.
I do that when I see a group of men as well.
Yeah, I was like, it went, don't look at me! And then it went under. Relatable.
Yeah.
Johnson also mentioned that the creature was likely responsible for the local livestock losses.
Of course. Blame them. Blame something else.
I'm a little bit suspicious as to why you need to say that.
Yeah.
Sounds like someone has stolen some livestock.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We're looking at you, Johnson.
We're looking at you, Johnson. So the town wanted to do an investigation shortly after this, but ultimately found that it would just cost too much money. Which, like,
they do that a lot.
They do that a lot. But I love that, like, when we're talking about cryptid stories, there's equal parts. This simply will cost too much, and we will spend every fucking last penny we have as a like county to figure out what the fuck this thing is. Like, it's equal. Love it.
Yeah. There's no in between.
No in between. There's no, like, well, maybe we could put, like, an allotted budget aside. It's like nothing or everything.
The lake monster budget.
Yeah. The real budget things we need.
Yeah. I'd be fine with my taxes going to that instead.
I would also be fine with my taxes going. Actually, no, I don't want my taxes going towards cryptid research because I don't want the government finding cryptids.
Oh, no, they don't get to find it. It's a private company that we get to head.
Oh, you mean a government contractor? They love those.
You can just decide. I'm going to declare that I am now.
True Creeps, we're now a cryptid location company.
Yes. And we get to make the decisions on how everyone else does their scientific research for things, right? Because we declared it.
Yeah, that's it. That's how science works.
And their government, yeah.
We're right.
We are right, and we will do what we want because we can.
We're going to hire actual zygotes with some concerning beliefs. Anyway.
Well, we won't.
No, obviously not us. We're talking about other people. Anywho. So then the story of this large creature that did not want to be perceived traveled all the way to London, and we'll talk more about that later. The Evening Independent in Florida then published an article in the newspaper shortly after Johnson's encounter had spread throughout the United States. They mentioned that a fishing club in Nebraska was preparing to go to war with the beast. Like, I'm imagining, like, they're painting their faces. They're, like, arming up. Can you see, like, the montage in your head for this?
I feel like they're making a giant net, and they're just, like, taking all the nets and, like, sewing all these nets together to prepare.
Oh, in my head, they were tying sheets together.
Oh, they could be, yeah.
Yeah.
And poking holes in it so they could just strain it.
Yes.
And then they had the war paint, right? Like under their eyes? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the war paint. Yeah.
And they had a really cool fishing club emblem on their jackets.
Yeah. And it didn't have a creature, it just had a really big splash that looked like it was too big to come from something they know of.
And then just question marks where the sheep should be. Or lambs, I guess.
No, they're cats. So, for this newspaper article, according to their source, the club bought harpoons and whaling guns in an attempt to kill the beast.
But they don't have funding, but these guys do.
Look, I mean, just because the government doesn't have the funds doesn't mean the people won't figure it the fuck out. Just saying.
You're not wrong. So then, in July of 1938, the Federal Writers Project in Nebraska published a story in their Tall Tales publication. They mentioned that he acquired the name Giganticus perturbius, his scientific name.
Yes.
And, quote, when he comes to the surface of the water, the earth trembles and the skies cloud over.
This is very dramatic. But it is the Tall Tales publication, so okay.
And then they continued. Those who have been brave enough and strong enough to endure a glance at him say that his flashing green eyes spit fire, and with a head like a huge oil barrel, he looks like something one sees in a very bad dream, and that the least movement of his big pointed ears causes a tempest on the lake.
I'm sorry, did you just say fucking ears?
He has ears now.
Where did that come? That's the first I heard of them.
Big pointed ears.
This is now a small dragon.
Okay, yeah.
Is it not?
Trogdor. That's why I have Trogdor in my head.
Actually, this is a wyvern. You don't get that book reference, but other people are going to, and they're going to like it. They're going to like it.
Great. So, it's scary to look at. And then they continued, quote, as he rears and flips his powerful tail, the farmers become seasick from miles around.
Why are the farmers seasick if they're not, like, on the lake?
It's his powers.
That's just nauseous, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, seasick is just nauseous for being on the water.
It's because he is throwing this little lake around so much that everyone gets seasick, even if they're not on sea.
That's a lot of pressure.
They blame everything on this fucking thing.
For Bruturvius.
I'm nauseous today. It's because someone looked at the lake monster.
Do you think they were calling in Giganticus Bruturvius?
Absolutely they were.
To their employers? They were like, I can't come to work. I'm actually seasick.
And they're like, yes, the lake monster's at it again. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, no, those are the farmers. I still feel like if you're in range, you get to call in Giganticus Bruturvius. Like, I feel like you get to.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
So this article also mentioned that he comes ashore to devour his daily ration of a dozen calves, of course.
That's over 900 pounds of meat, just in case you're wondering, which feels like a lot. Like, they were saying he was big, but like 900 pounds of meat big?
Yeah.
Is he eating it all at once? Is he splitting it up throughout the
No,
day?
he's eating 12 calves every time he goes on shore.
Yeah, that's too much. That's like he would not be able to be thrashing about and be that large.
That's why everyone got seasick.
That's why everybody, because he was so heavy. I'd also point out, just in case you were wondering, that's less than 10 12-year-old boys on average. So
okay.
If you're looking for what the ratio was, I'm like, how much that would be.
Okay. Each serving, though.
Over 900 pound serving, yes. Yeah, 1 dozen calves is equal to like 9 to 10 12-year-old boys. It's not an even 9 or anything.
The 900 pounds worth. And I was like, how much do you think 12-year-old boys weigh?
So actually, 12-year-old boys on average weigh 98 pounds. So,
ooh, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome for that. And also, I just need you to know, I was not looking at notes.
No, she wasn't. She was looking into her camera.
That's now a fact that's just in my fucking head. What a time.
Perfect. We're not weird. Okay. So
I'm going to rock really strange, obscure trivia one day.
if someone ever gets that question, it's going to be because someone who made that question listens to us.
If we ever did True Creeps trivia, that will be on there.
Yeah. Commit that to memory. That's a Motion City soundtrack quote.
Yeah. I'm not going to be the only fucking weird one. God damn it. Anywho.
Okay. So here's what happens, though. We're going back to, it goes on shore, eats a dozen calves.
Casually.
And that a mist follows so that travelers cannot make their way through it.
Okay, we've got farmers are seasick. Travelers are now lost.
Yep.
Okay.
And then lastly, my favorite, quote, the gnashing of his teeth sound like a clap after clap of thunder. So he's just like biting.
As a person who cannot stand the sound of another person chewing,
oh,
I feel that on a visceral level, and I would tell you the sound of literally anyone chewing near me sounds like clap after clap of thunder. It feels that real in my soul.
Oh, yeah. I've never wanted to strangle anyone more.
I'm like, I can't do this. I will leave a room. I don't want to be this way.
Bye. Now, in the 50s, a photo of the creature emerged. It is now in the possession of the Nebraska State Historical Society. It is the best photo of a cryptid I've ever seen. The photo was supposed to be of the creature about to attack a victim in their car, but it is quite literally a salamander and what looks like a cutout little piece of car. Like they cut it out of like a magazine or something and sat it next to a salamander.
It's quite clearly a piece of paper, and it's quite clearly a salamander-sized salamander because the nature around it is not small in comparison.
No.
So it would have to be on like a literal mountain of mashed potatoes for this to be different than what it actually is. That wouldn't make sense here.
No, but it is great that they're like, this is it. And you're like,
Yeah,
what?
that's what you saw. If it did look like this and they were like, this is just a depiction, this matches pretty well with like medieval accounts of what dragons look like.
Yeah, that's true.
But this doesn't have fucking ears.
No, it does not. Or a giant like horn between its eyes.
Yeah, it's also missing that big old horn.
Yeah.
And its blowhole.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So then in 1962, an issue of Outdoor Nebraska published an article that the creature would influence the weather. So that's where that came from, an article. Then an article by Jack Reed in 1962 described it as a 300-foot-long dragon-like beast that opens its gargantuan mouth and lets out a roar. It's getting bigger and bigger.
It is. It really is.
It's from all the calves that it eats.
Well, it's eating a steady supply of a dozen calves per day.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what it could be. Some people think that it's the Loch Ness Monster, that he like lived here and then was like, bye, and went to Scotland.
Maybe he vacationed here in this lake.
Yeah. No one talks about like how that would happen though.
Nope, not at all.
Yeah.
I could not find one thing other than they're like, oh, it's the same creature or monster. And I'm like, do they mean like it's the same
Like related or
type of creature, or is it literally the same creature?
Yeah, fair. This is my absolute favorite theory because it is ridiculous and it makes no sense.
Yeah.
I just want to like point out some things that we've talked about. We've talked about it having large pointy ears. We've talked about horns in between its nose and eye area. We've talked about it being mostly water-based, right? But like lizard-like in some way.
Yeah.
Like clearly like an amphibian.
Rough skin.
Because it can go onto land. Rough skin that is clearly rough. It's also like this like browny kind of gray color. But like through and through, a lizardy, fishy, creepy dude, right?
Yeah.
Who's thrashing about in the water and is absolutely amphibian or lizard-based. So color us shocked when some people suggested that this might be a large beaver.
They've never seen a beaver before.
Clearly. Now, maybe this could be the case if they saw it from a distance and like with weird lighting. Because like, you know, beavers do have big tails. And if you were seeing their teeth, you might kind of like mistake where that was on their face. But I'm really, truly and 100% not seeing that. Or maybe you mistook a nose for a horn. Or we're just generally confused on what a beaver was.
Yeah, I don't really see it, but I guess they could see it as a weird creature if they didn't know what a beaver was, or if it was like swimming and half of its body was out and half like in the water, and they were like, that's weird. But also, I like you described it, it still doesn't overlap to me.
Yeah, and like I would imagine if I saw a large creature in water, I would assume that it would look like a creature that would be in water. So I could see that like your brain might distort the details that you're seeing, right? So like maybe the rough fur looks like rough skin to you, or maybe that like the sheen of wet fur kind of looks grayish, but it's still a far pass. But just to be thorough, we looked up beaver cryptid and there is one. It's called the giant beaver. And the giant beaver was seen in lake areas in Canada and the United States and was roughly the size of a bear. Now, even more interestingly, there is what we previously believed to be extinct massive beaver that was in fact the size of a fucking bear. And just like, look.
Amazing and terrifying at the same time.
Amazing and terrifying, but also like cute.
Yeah.
Because I think beavers are cute.
Yeah.
And this is going to be shocking here, but it was actually known as the giant beaver. It weighed up to 200 pounds and was about 7 feet tall. But they mostly ate aquatic plants and were kind of bumbly when they came onto land, so I don't think they would have been so scary.
So wait, so they didn't eat calves? 12 calves a day?
They did not eat a dozen calves per meal.
Okay.
They were great swimmers, though, so like they would have been like happy in a lake. But they were believed to have gone extinct in Pleistocene, which is the last ice age that ended about 11,700 years ago. So if they were still around, that would be super weird considering how big they were. Like, we would see their skeletons or some evidence of them still being around if they were a common occurrence. And from everything we saw, it wasn't like they had like vampire lifespans where they were like immortal giant beavers. So we wouldn't find evidence, you know? Like,
Did you ever think you'd say that string of words together?
absolutely not. And I love that I did. As if you could outrun me. This is the tale of a killer, Bella. Oh my god. I feel like I'm extra funny today, but that's just me. What a silly little goofy mood I am in.
The secret is recording on a different day.
Yeah, I'm high on Tuesday. So another theory was that it was a large catfish because catfish can get up to around 9 feet long. So maybe I simply do not want to see a 9-foot long fish. I think I'd be very unsettled by that.
You saw me seeing any sized fish when we went to Mexico.
I mean, fair. But we don't think that it was likely the catfish either because the largest one that's been caught in Nebraska was only 5 feet. And that definitely wouldn't account for the size of this Giganticus Pretorius. And then this is another theory, which, you know, probably the correct one, maybe, is that the whole thing was a hoax. So a man named John G. Mayer may be behind the story growing. He was also the person who was responsible for getting the story to London, which, like, you know, classic John Mayer. Just took a little joke for myself there. So this John Mayer was a reporter who worked for several newspapers at the time. And some of these newspapers had a habit of not fact-checking. They would just, you know, publish things because they liked to boost circulation, so they wouldn't fact-check. He was responsible for other hoaxes, like when he created a, quote, petrified man out of cement and then planted it for archaeologists to find.
He was dedicated.
He was dedicated. He wasn't like, I'm just going to write fake things. He's like, I am going to make it happen. So he may have been out on that lake thrashing around in like a suit.
Do you think of that episode when Leslie Knope puts like I think it's pottery in the hole?
I completely forgot about that, but that's hilarious. He also sank bags of soda in boiling springs to produce soda springs that, of course, had healing properties. And Louise Pound, who is a historian, she actually wrote about his various hoaxes. Maris had reportedly once said, "There was a great demand for stories and few things to write about. So, for an inventive mind, there was nothing to do but make up stories." I mean, there's a whole profession for that, though. Anywho, he also may be the reason why we don't see a bunch of people's sightings, but rather a bunch of articles that discuss what people may have seen, because it's stories about stories about stories.
And he's like either wrote, submitted them, or made it happen. He is everyone. We are him.
We're all John Mayer.
So additionally, between 1889 and 1890, the lake experienced a severe drought that caused the levels of water to fall to essentially a puddle. So many question how this creature, you know, being this big, could pop up in the water 30-ish years later. But as someone already stated, apparently he may have moved around. So perhaps he was just there 30 years later. Interestingly, the lake is typically only about 11 feet deep in the deepest areas. So that likely could not house a creature this big, you know, that can eat 12 calves every feeding. But maybe he moved around. There's even an article from last summer that said that the deepest area had dropped to only about 5 feet due to evaporation that year. So, like, again, he can't be there anymore. If he was there before, he's not there now, unless he can shrink.
Or maybe he turns into the mist.
Ooh, yeah. So another option is that there was once a creature, but it either died, left the lake, or went into some sort of hibernation.
Bro.
A local historian, Mary Hansen, said, quote, "I think there was something out there. I don't think there's anything in there now, but people saw something."
If it had died, we would have found a skeleton, though.
Maybe it turned into mist.
And then people would have been looking. Fuck. Magic, baby.
Yeah. Some believe that it's totally real, and they even say that indigenous people had documented encounters in their writings. However, we could not find any written accounts from indigenous people. Not saying that it doesn't exist. Maybe it does, but it is not easy to find on the internet. Now, many sources said this, so I thought it was interesting that nothing showed it.
When you're talking about older stories, or honestly, even news in general, a lot of articles cite other articles as sources, and they don't always fact check themselves. They're fact checking like their sources, like, well, this is a news article that says this, and news articles are accurate.
Yeah.
So XYZ.
Yep.
And like we're doing
So the mist happened.
exactly. And there's a true crime case we were recently researching where we read dozens of articles and it was all the same information, just written differently, right? I mean, that's kind of the true for a lot of true crime cases, but there's not a lot of information that's out right now. So it's literally just a different order of the information in every single one. And they all cite back to each other. So it's just like this circular loop. And it's like, where is this information from? Like it would reference filings that were not available anywhere. And it was like, I don't know how much I believe this because I can't find this anywhere official other than someone saying this is true.
Right, right. Yeah, it's a time when you read especially old articles. I mean, it's still, like she said, happens today. But old articles are hilarious because it'll be like, yeah, the mist is engulfing travelers. And then they'll just, retell it over and over again. And you're like, but give me the proof of the mist and or indigenous writings that talk about this creature.
M. Night Shyamalan was like, I am inspired right now.
Oh, yeah. I can't watch that movie. It makes me too sad.
Fair. Very fair.
Okay, so back to the list of what it may be. Another thought that we've said it before, but a cryptozoologist, Wade Beaumont, mentioned again, it can be an animal that science hasn't yet identified. And I always love that one.
I mean, it's a possibility. New animals are found every fucking year, which is wild.
Yes, yes. And it also could be a prehistoric creature that survived and has been undetected due to living in a remote area. Prehistoric. So either it is, a creature that existed a long time ago that we haven't found again, or perhaps it's just an entirely new species science has not found yet, which I always love that thought of like, it's just someone we don't know yet. We'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah.
Now, kind of a fun thing to discuss is the legacy this creature has left. And the Hay Springs Centennial Committee created commemorative Lake Walgren Monster t-shirts and buttons to promote their centennial celebration in 1985.
I do love when an area like celebrates their cryptid. That's my fave.
Yeah. And they based its looks on what J.A. Johnson's description was. But of course, they ditched the idea of the horn for some reason. Supposedly, 1985 is also the last time the creature was sighted. So right around their celebration. And I saw some, I don't know if it's the original shirts or remakes of the shirts online, but they are very cute.
Also, just generally as a note, which I thought was interesting, was that the prehistoric era is considered, per Oxford reference, feels like a reputable source, to have ended between 6 million and 3100 BC.
It's a long time ago.
So quite a while ago. That would be a really old animal.
It's been living in this lake that long.
My God, he's like, I am tired. I am tired of it here.
That's why, you know what? That's how he learned. He's had all that time to influence the weather and create mist and eat calves.
What else is he doing?
Yeah. Got real bored.
Can you imagine living like all the way through that though?
Oh no. I don't think it was possible, but unless he was some weird like bacteria or something.
Well, no, I don't think it's possible either because there's like
that grew and evolved.
Ice ages and shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right in there. So like they would have had to like freeze and thaw and like, no, but he controls the weather. So he's just a little weather bubble around him. He's like,
oh,
it's sunny, it's breezy, it's balmy where I'm at.
Okay.
Just him and his cattle.
Or, there are those fish that can be frozen for a time, right? Isn't that a thing?
I don't know. I'm afraid now.
Yes. The Crucian carp?
The Rosicrucians?
The
Vans Hardware. Everything goes.
Yes, it's some sort of carp that can survive freezing temperatures and then, quote, come back to life when thawed.
I wonder how that affects like their growth over time too. Interesting.
Yeah, they hibernate, kind of.
If something is pretty durable and continues to grow, I would imagine it's going to get fucking big over time if it doesn't have like a natural aging mechanism.
Well, there's a thing that some species of fish have antifreeze proteins.
Wild.
And it produces specialized proteins in their blood that act as antifreeze, preventing large ice crystals from forming within their cells and causing damage.
Tell me why all I could picture was a Flintstone car with fish windshield wipers.
What the fuck?
Because that's antifreeze.
Oh my god.
Such good visuals for today. We're taking on a journey.
So, another piece of its legacy. A Nebraska novelist, Marie Sandoz, based her short story, Aussie and the Sea Monster, on the Alkali Lake Monster, and her novel called Old Jules mentions him as well. Also, you may hear a jet in the background. They're always flying over my house. Now, this creature is also found in local art, and even classrooms do a lesson on the creature when they discuss local history, which I love. That's so fun.
Yeah.
And also some tours in the area include retellings of sightings when they discuss the lake.
I would love to be on like a tour of an area and then be like, and now we talk about cryptids. What a treat.
Yeah.
We also saw an eyeshadow from Femme Fatale Cosmetics called the Alkali Lake Monster, and it's green with like a gold, bronze, and blue sparkles in it. It's currently out of stock, but it's stunning.
I loved it.
Yeah, it's cute. So interestingly, Nebraska is also home to other aquatic cryptids. There isn't as much on them, but we wanted to talk about them too. In Lake Ogallala, there is another serpentine creature they call Ogie. Unfortunately, there isn't much on Ogie, but it said that he's at least 20 feet long and that he kind of looks like a prehistoric fish and has a long body and a maw big enough to swallow a full-grown goose. We always love weird measurements, but especially when we're talking about well, it's big enough to eat a whole man. It's big enough to eat a full-grown goose. First off, you didn't need to specify goose.
Why goose? Why do you hate geese?
Like full-grown goose. Well, it's not just that. It's that a not full-grown goose is a Ryan Gosling. So, it's redundant, but also just go ahead. We're going to give you a minute. Say full-grown goose. No, I mean it. Say it. Right now.
Full-grown goose.
No, I meant for them. I'm pausing for them to say it. But you can say it first.
Oh, you were looking at me.
Did you say full-grown goose? You better have. It was fun. And if you say it's not, I don't believe you. Anyway, Ogie breaches like a whale and has scales that glisten in the sun.
Pretty.
However, many believe he's just a big old fish. Specifically, a sturgeon or a gar, which it could be because sturgeon species have existed for more than 150 million years and were present during the Jurassic era. So the prehistoric fish description does make sense. So they also get 8 foot in length, and which is not quite 20, but I feel like once you see a fish, frankly, over 3 feet, to me, whether it's 3 feet or 30, that's simply too large. Not like they shouldn't exist if they're that big, just more like I'm unsettled by the size of that fish.
Yeah.
So I could see how, depending on where they are in the water, it might look like a different size.
For sure. Also,
yeah.
Complete tangent, but this week, have you seen the video of the person that was swallowed by a whale and then spit out?
No, I haven't.
It's terrifying.
Because if you send it to me on TikTok, I'm in debt to you.
I definitely did. I absolutely did.
Well, I will watch it at some point.
Anytime I see a weird water creature that's terrifying, it goes immediately to you.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. To Amanda and to anyone who does send me TikToks, I will watch them. It will be all at once. There'll be 70, and I'll respond to all of them at once. It will be overwhelming, but it's how I do it. I don't know, man. Anyway.
I like saving them up, so I have a good 30 minutes of something to do.
Yeah. I also like watching a few from one person. Do you know what I'm saying? When people send me some, I'll watch a few because typically they're related. Mm-hmm. Anyway, gars in Nebraska are known for their extremely tough skin and armor-like scales. And in Nebraska, some of the species of gar are called long-nosed gar, and they can get to about 9 feet long, which, again, too fucking big.
Too big.
That also sounds like a swordfish light, you know?
Yeah, kind of. Now, we definitely fell into some rabbit holes while researching these fish.
Obviously,
always. Quick fact, people have died due to sturgeon collisions. That's a thing.
Just running into a fish.
The fish running into them. So apparently they can jump pretty high from the water and they can cause damage or even death. So if you don't die from getting hit by this fish, you could get seriously injured. Now, one woman needed multiple facial reconstruction operations after being struck by it.
That is so horrific. Of all of the ways in which a person could get injured at a lake, I would never consider that bumping into a fish would cause death or severe injuries. That's really scary.
That's terrifying. See, that's why I'm afraid of the fish.
I mean, Amanda, the ones that you were thinking about were like literally like smaller than my thumb. And I wear child's gloves. So like just for reference.
Just like, I don't want anything touching me in the water, okay?
They also don't want you to touch them. Think about like what you look like to them. That's their house. You just come into their house and they're swimming around and you're mad that they're there? Okay.
You jumped off the cliff into the
They weren't around that.
They've seen the picture of that, okay?
That picture of me is so humbling. Oh man. Oops, all tangents.
Now, that was my tangent on fish. There's a lot of articles about people getting injured by this damn fish, so.
New fear unlocked.
I flipped through a few of them, and I was just like, oh my god.
You know how we have a spiders and like a snakes episode? Do we need like a fish? Just fish broadly?
Terrifying fish episode.
Yeah.
And then it's just me showing you pictures of those little fish in Mexico that I didn't want to go near.
You're like, it touched my toe. I hated it.
It's very unsettling. Okay, so back to more cryptids in this area, because they love their aquatic cryptids, right? They also have another one called Loch Ness Tessie.
They're obsessed with the Loch Ness Monster, and they're trying to make it happen. I love it. I love that for them.
They love it. They love it.
They're like, what if it was here, though?
Right. You get one, I want one.
Yeah.
There's very little about Loch Ness Tessie.
Shock.
But we theorize that perhaps it is a story about the Alkali Lake Monster that, through the big game of telephone, changed a bit, and it was just given a new home with a new name. That's at least what I think.
Yeah, fair.
But it is said that it can be found in a lake near Valentine, Nebraska. Some people had specific lakes, and when I looked them up, I did not see that they existed, so I thought that was interesting. They describe it as having a Scottish cousin, if you know what I mean. Tessie is described as a humped serpentine beast with a long neck and flippers.
Okay. A little Basilsaurus-y.
People have seen it surface with a mouthful of fish.
This one has a kilt.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
So, yeah, it's not quite calves, it's fish, at least. And there aren't any theories as to what this could be that people have at least posted. But like I said earlier, I believe it's just the game of telephone with the other lake monster, and they all just got twisted into two.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel like, especially when we're talking about the same state and like same terrain type.
Agreed. You know, if we had a big net, we could study this. With your contribution.
Dear Sharks, we're writing a letter now.
Yeah.
Dearest Sharks, we write to you this day, asking for...
Why are we old-timey now?
Because we're writing a fucking letter. I have a quill.
Is it with a quill? Okay. We said it at the same time.
Amanda, don't be ridiculous. One moment. You know what it's with. Let me walk.
Oh, gosh. Are you taking the mic with you?
Oh, I'm taking the mic with me.
Oh, my God. This is new.
This is fresh.
And all I can see is her chair spinning. Like, there's nothing left. Can you hear it?
That's my typewriter, baby.
Dear Shark.
I also did start typing Dear Sharks.
Oh my gosh. So it was accurate.
Just for the correct cadence.
Thank you. So going back to our original lake monster, something that we read and wanted to share is how a local legend can positively affect a community. And I thought this was just so neat.
I love it.
As for others that we have shared in the past, having a cryptid or local legend helped to shape the identity of Hay Springs and the surrounding area. When a community embraces these stories, it helps to create a sense of shared history and culture for an area, which is just so fun.
Yeah.
Folklore experts have argued that these legends serve important social functions. Quote, they provide a common narrative that binds community members together, creating a shared experience that transcends generations. Look at all the things that cryptids can do. Now, for example, the Alkali Lake Monster is more than just a cryptid in this area. It has become a symbol for it. And because of it, it's created a sense of local pride.
I love it.
Right?
And we've talked about this a bit in other cryptid episodes, but it also has some economic implications. Having a cryptid local legend can bring tourism. Typically, this leads to people staying in small towns and spending money in local establishments that they likely never would have gone to.
Yeah.
I've talked about it before, but the Mothman Festival isn't just like the tiniest town, right? So most people would have never gone there. They would have never had a tourist boom like this once a year.
Yeah.
That floods money into the local businesses that are just there all year round, but also local artists and makers. It is a huge economic impact to the area.
Yeah.
When people leave these tourist spots for cryptids, they then go home and they tell more people, and then more people come and see it, or people talk about it on their podcasts, and people are like, wow, I was considering going. I mean, it is wild to think about, like, oh, it's a cool thing that we talk about and chat about, but it actually does have big implications to that area's people.
Yeah. Yeah, in many ways.
Yeah. And they're not all bad, because some people are just like, oh, people come and they bother the locals and they search the areas. And in the immediate time surrounding the original sightings, that might be true. But I think as you get more towards the folklore and legend appreciation versus the original occurrence, it swaps.
Yeah. Yeah. All I'm thinking of is the Blair Witch and how the people were like stealing the sign and stuff. But now, like,
Yeah.
people gather and they put money into this small town
Mm-hmm.
and pay their respects to various areas of it. So, yeah,
Yeah.
a little different. Blair Witch,
Mhm.
I mean, she moves.
Yeah. Yeah. Legends, folklore.
Yeah.
Some built out up around her. Maybe she's a Talpa now. She could be there.
She is there.
Oh.
Maybe.
A cryptozoologist, Jack Sullivan, had some great perspectives on this when it comes to the impact of cryptids on an area. He mentioned that a lot of the time when people research and learn about cryptids, they end up learning about the local history, ecology, and the importance of the local natural habitats and animals. So, for example, this week, we learned so much about the environment that the monster would live in so that we could accurately describe him and think about what he could be, that we probably would have never looked up but for this cryptid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, not every place is a Malvern that is infamous. So it's interesting to talk about small areas that we had never been to.
Yeah.
Or to unlock new fears, like a fear of large fish running into you, because that is objectively terrifying, I think.
It is. It is. So the Walgren Lake State Recreation Area, which also includes the lake and the surrounding land, has a variety of visitors each year. So again, how it impacts the area. Some find the area due to these stories, but then end up visiting because it's a great place to fish, to boat, and camp. Knowing the stories, though, adds a fun layer to their trip because they can potentially spot an unknown creature.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the fun of it. Like when they go camping or do anything, they're like, oh, but we might find this. And it's just, I don't know, a fun way to look at cryptids a little bit more and to like appreciate them.
Yeah.
Now, Sullivan, who Lizzie had mentioned, ended one of his articles with, quote, "In the end, perhaps the true value of the Walgren Lake Monster lies not in providing its existence, but in the ways it brings people together, sparks curiosity about the natural world, and reminds us that even in our modern age, there's still room for a little mystery and magic in our lives." That was so nice.
I love any time we could talk about infusing magic into lives. And especially when it comes to little kids, like seeing the world as just this unlimited kind of fun, magical place, I think is wondrous.
Yeah, yeah. Just it started out as this crazy, weird creature, and then we're like, oh, it has such nice impacts on the area.
Yeah. So as always, we want to know, do you think the Alkali Lake Monster is real? Do you think it is a giant beaver? And have you considered how much your love and joy about cryptids can positively impact the world? Because what a fun thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you've done any type of cryptid tourism, we are intrigued. Always tell us about it. We want to know. I try to go to a different cryptid festival every year. It's been like a newer thing we've been doing. We went to the Mothman Festival a couple of years ago. We went to Squonkapalooza last year, which was a fun time. I want to try to go to another one this year. But let us know if you've gone to any.
Yeah. Yeah. And which one? Because we'd love to hear about it.
And we just got home from our St. Augustine adventure. So we're going to have some trip-related episodes coming out soon, and we're super excited to share those with you. But sometimes they take a little bit longer to do the editing and like in between. So they're coming, but not immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a good time.
And with that, have a great weekend.
Thanks for creeping with us.
Thanks for listening. And as always, a special thank you to our patrons who support us via Patreon.
Please see the link in our show notes to learn more about how you, yes you, can begin to haunt the dump, guard vortexes, or even become a scorching Sasquatch.
Ooh. Also in our show notes, you can find the link to our website, more information on our sources, our social media handles, and our merch store.
We'd love for you to keep creeping with us. So if you like this episode, please subscribe, rate, review, and share the show with your fellow creeps and or ghosts.
I beg of you.
Let's see if I can say this correctly. Giganticus breviarius.
Oh.
Oh, no. Brudervus. Brudervius. How would you say it?
Well, first off, this is going at the end, obviously.
Yeah.
I would say Bruturvius.
Bruturvius. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Gigantus Bruturvius.
Yeah. Or no, Giganticus.
Oh, Giganticus. Okay. Or its scientific name, Giganticus Brutuverus.
Brutuvius.
Brutuvius.
Giganticus Bruturvius.
Did I say it differently?
Yeah. You added like another R in there somewhere. I love that.
You know, it's a dumb name. It's a dumb name. All scientific names are dumb names.
Latin's rough.
Yeah.
I also just need you to know. So, okay, Amanda had the typo of Walgreen Monster, but even like outside of that, in my head I went Walgreens Monster. Like, I love the idea that like there's a Walgreens Monster. My brain went there either way.
And this is it. This is the monster in Walgreens.
Yeah.
Bruturvius. Is that it?
Giganticus Bruturvius.
Bruturvius. Giganticus Bruturvius.
Gorgeous.
I could speak Latin. For no reason, but you just brought up the Flintstones, right? Right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Someone in my neighborhood is currently selling a custom golf cart that they made into the Flintstones car.
Do you have... Oh, okay. I mean, honestly, respect.
For the mere $14,500, this could be yours.
Does it work, or do you have to foot it? I love the idea that somebody, like, if it didn't work and you did have to foot it, I love the idea of taking a non-operational vehicle and being like, well, I'll make it into a Flintstones car, and then someone will pay $14,000 for it.
I mean, it looks really cool. Like,
dream big, baby. It does look like the Flintstones car.
They did a great job, but yeah,
they did.
This came up on my feed, and I immediately sent it to Mike, and I was like, look at this. Someone's selling it in our neighborhood.
I love a creative endeavor.
I don't understand. If you hate us, just say it. Next week's going to be a bad week for us.
I promise, I'm not eating. This is just my mouth. Anyway, it's fine. We're talking about a lake monster. We gotta go. We gotta finish this.
All right, sharks, but, you know, we went off on a tangent a little bit, but...
Okay, oh yeah, sharks. Sharks. We're back. We could make a very big net.
Yes, yes.
That net could catch a lot of things. Think of the joy.
Yeah. Think of all the mermaids.
I don't want to catch mermaids.
Oh, no, like, here's the thing, though.
Oh, are we sea cryptid hunting? Oh, God, that's a way different vibe. Cryptid hunting versus just, like, catching, but, like...
No, not hunting. We're gonna catch him and release and be like, look, they're real, and then let him go, because I don't want anyone to, like...
Catch and release.
Test on them. So, like, we're just going to be like, take a photo and then throw it back. But we are the only ones that can use our net. No one else can.
Now I'm thinking of the latest Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie when they're like, they're going to milk us. And all I think is that they're going to milk them. And it could be the latest new milk craze is like Sasquatch milk. Like monster milk.
It's like the Sasquatch isn't getting caught in our lake net.
French Basilsaurus milk.
Basilsaurus wasn't a cryptid, okay?
No, that's the French one, which is this lake monster.
Oh.
Oh my God. Or, anyway.
We'll put it in the fine print of anything we catch. Cannot be milked.
Cannot be milked. Or otherwise fucked around with. You know what I mean? Like, we're just gonna say, like, hello. We just needed to see what was going on. We would love if you would not eat the livestock. Stalk. I don't know what that was, but maybe just eat the deer.
Oh no, why the deer?
Well, because the deer exist in nature. Also, if there's an overpopulation of deer, it actually does cause issues in an area. And, like, are there a lot of deer near you?
Yeah, the desert deer that eat cactus. Up north there are. Yeah, up north there are.
I was like, I don't know where deer are. If there is like an overpopulation of deer, they will run into roads and stuff. And that's way fucking worse than them being hunted, which is,
Well, we shouldn't even have the roads. It was their area. No roads.
I mean, I don't disagree with you, but
We just need to catch and release, spay and neuter them, okay? That's the other thing that I'm going to be starting.
I'm just saying that if they're going to the deer, catch and release deer in Spain, like,
Yeah.
some hunters like, I will fucking fight you. Like,
I'll fight them. I will. Let it happen.
all I was saying is that local farmers need their livestock, whereas the woods,
I need Bambi.
the deer are roaming around,
Okay.
but not her mom. Or his mom.
No, it's so sad. That's why we need to be nice. Poor Bambi needed his mom.
Yeah, but if someone had just eaten his mom instead.
How did we get here?
The
That would have been a more traumatizing movie.
lake monster came out and ate it in the beginning.
This is why.
Every Disney movie needs to start with the killing of a parrot. I don't make the rules.
No, that's just the 80s
Okay.
Disney movies. They stopped that because it gave trauma.
Millennials, here we are. We're ready. So many once in a lifetime.
Oh no. Just Littlefoot.
Oh my god, R.I.P. Littlefoot.
No, his mom.
Oh, that gets me every time.
Yeah, I can't watch it.
Okay, we gotta get back to this lake monster, though.
They mentioned that he acquired the name.
Uh-oh.
Critter free.
I'm so sorry.
Fuck you, Lindsay.
You were thinking it a little bit, right? You were like, oh, fuck me, I've got to say this again. Okay, no, I'll be quiet.
I should have taken this out of mine. Pretervious. Is that how you were saying it? Pretervious?
Pretervious.
Okay. So they mentioned that he acquired the name. Say the legal name.
The name that I will not say again because I hated it.
Yeah.
Some people.
Pupple.
Amanda is dragging me through this episode. You can tell sometimes when that's happening. That's today. It's a little goof.
Okay.
She was like, there's fish swimming in this natural water. And I was like, yeah, they live here. And she was like, I don't like it. I was like,
She wanted me to get in with the fish, though.
this is the earth. Yeah, that was the whole point of why we were there. Anyway. Amanda's not used to bodies of water because she lives in the desert. So she's like, what do you mean things exist in nature? This is weird.
Just don't want to be near them. Gonna go down to a 1.
I can't help it. I'm trying.
You don't even know the definition, so.
We work really hard. There's a lot of good things. And I'm done.
Done. Podcast over.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.